the movies. Basically all the movies. It's all the movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, please welcome our very special guests, Mr. Chris Sabat and Monica Rial. Hello, hello. Thank you for those awesome graphics.
That was so cool. That was really, really cool. I forget how many things that we've done together sometimes. So
Yeah,
it's
we've
fun
done.
to see it all out there.
We've done a lot together. This feels like a lecture in a way.
Yes.
We brought you here today to teach you all about the dragon bones.
The Dragon Bones.
Las bolas de dragón.
I love traveling with Monica because, firstly, she speaks some Spanish, but from more like Espanol from Spain or whatever. And I don't speak much at all, except when I do speak it to anyone, I like to do it like it's a radio commercial. Yesterday I was like, I'm going to get the clásico! And she apologizes to them in Spanish
Our
because
waiter only spoke Spanish, so it was the only time I have ever been able to control a conversation that Christopher Sabat
Yeah.
was involved in.
yeah, especially at a restaurant. Especially at a restaurant. Yeah.
Like, finally, he doesn't understand what's being said. I have
Total control.
I just kept saying, Clásico!
What was the other one?
It was like the Tierra and Mare.
Tienes queso gratis.
Oh, yeah.
What were you saying?
I was like, queso gratis, por favor! Sorry.
No.
Please don't be offended. I absolutely love the Spanish language, and my children speak Spanish
speak
because we
Spanish.
put them in a Spanish immersion school because it doesn't make sense for us not to be able to talk to the rest of the people in our own state. So I resent that I never was taught it myself.
I can teach you.
Okay, good. Let's start now. This panel is now called Christopher Sabat Attempts to Learn Spanish.
This ain't gonna go very well.
Do you know, the only other Spanish story I have is about my friends had their kids in the same Spanish immersion school that I sent my kids to, except they, like me, don't necessarily speak Spanish, and so their daughter used to watch Dora as well, and she thought it was really funny to yell, "Ayúdame! Ayúdame!" when they were walking through the grocery store, and she always noticed that certain people would stare at them because she loved yelling that word at the top of her lungs.
That's awful because they're gonna think it's trafficking or something.
Yeah.
So,
The sad thing is that nobody really stopped to help. Like, so, apparently, if you say help in Spanish, no one helps you. Anyway,
awful. I would have gone over there. I'm like, hey, is that really your child? They're screaming help.
I'd say, yo, you the man! High five them, and I wouldn't know what they meant. Hi, Chris, I do the voice of Vegeta on Dragon Ball. He sounds like this, and he's this angry little man! And this is his Bulma.
I'm Monica, and I play Bulma.
But she sounds more like this. She's in my lower register, if you would. So,
And that's fun. It's
Yeah,
fun being
until you're
Bulma.
yelling at me. Then
Until I'm yelling at well, I yell at everybody, though, to be fair. It is kind of fun and super. I love that Bulma has grown into this. She's very maternal, right? She's always looking out for the boys, making sure everybody's taken care of. But everybody's afraid of her. Especially like in that episode where Krillin had the dream sequence, and it's like all of the villains he's ever fought, and Bulma. Like, that makes sense. So I'm,
she doesn't mess around. I think that's why Vegeta loves her, because he's also scared of her.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody is. I've got the power.
How many of you guys saw the new movie? Oh man, look at his face up there. He's like. How many of you had something to do and then realized that the movie's no longer playing here and now you can't see it?
Is it not playing here?
Apparently it's not. Someone told me it's not.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Then whoever told me was a liar.
Right?
That was you. You must leave now.
From what I understand, for those of you that haven't been able to see it yet, that are still wanting to see it, from what I've been told by Funimation, fairies, or whatever you want to call them. So it's supposed to go through certain theaters till the end of the month, and then there's a handful of theaters that are playing it indefinitely, like until people stop going to see it. So tell all of your friends to go see it. So I think it'd be really funny if we were like in November and people are still going to see it. Because nobody expected it to do as well as it did. We kept telling people, like, no, you don't understand. This is Akira Toriyama's Broly. Like, this is really awesome. And they're like, yeah, it's Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, oh, it's number 3 in the country.
I thought it was gonna do okay, and then I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed at first that it was Broly. I was like, come on, Akira Toriyama. It's like, we had Frieza last time, you're gonna resurrect Broly this time. I'm like, can't you come up with any new villains? And then I saw the animatic version of it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
This is a really good movie. Because to me, like, the Broly stuff was cool, but the part that I loved the most was the whole first half of the movie. Without spoiling it, it's just the whole Saiyan history stuff. And that was my favorite section. And my favorite moment in the movie was actually, Goku's mom and dad, Bardock and Gine, and their conversation meant so much to me. Because, and I'm gonna be talking about this for a very long time, but up until that movie, I always used to make fun of Goku because he's only a good guy, technically, in terms of the story of Dragon Ball Z, because he fell on his head as a child. Like, that's it. I'm like, he's not a hero, he has a brain injury. Like, that's it. But when I heard Bardock and Gine talking, and she says, why are you doing this? Saiyans don't normally care about the well-being of their children. He's like, I just want to save something for once. And that, to me, was the most important line in the whole movie, because that makes me believe that Goku isn't just a good guy because he fell on his head as a child, which I wouldn't recommend doing to any child, by the way, if you're worried about them like not being a hero or something. But it also lends the possibility that maybe this was just destined to be, like Bardock injected this like goodness into his bloodline that didn't exist before, and I thought that was really, really cool. I thought it was awesome.
And on that note, when we start answering questions, if you guys have any spoilers about Dragon Ball Super Broly, we will ask that you please give us like some hints, or tell me in Spanish, and I'll. But yeah, don't give anything out that you think that your fellow viewers might spoil. But I guess on that note.
I mean, I just spoiled the whole movie, so. Actually, there's so much left in that movie, and it really should be experienced in a large theater.
I mean, the first time I saw it was when it wasn't finalized animation, and I watched it with Jason Douglas, who plays Beerus. It was under such tight security that they wouldn't even let us like have a copy of the script or have a copy of it and take it home. We had to go sit in Colleen Clinkenbeard's office in front of this little computer with a script reading. And it was beautiful, and I loved the movie, and I thought, wow, this is going to be a big deal. But when we saw it at the premiere, I was like, holy moly, that's a beautiful movie. So,
Bless you.
So, as I like to say, especially with panels like this is for the attendees.
Yes.
This is for you guys. So, I know you're not here to listen to me talk, you're here to listen to them talk. So, right away, we're going to open up to questions from you guys.
Sure.
You guys are the most important part. You're at the heart of Comic-Cons. So if you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand. They'll choose, and if you're on that side, Oscar will run over there with the mic. If you're on this side, I will run over there with the mic. And again, I remind you, I am 250 pounds. I will not be so fast.
Which is why this is what I like to do. Okay, so first, let's get that question in the back, like the middle.
I knew that would happen.
You're not gonna weigh 250 pounds tomorrow, brother. Today starts your workout.
I've already done my pink circle on my Apple Watch, so.
Hi, okay, so this question is for Chris. In the original dub of Dragon Ball Z, when Vegeta was checking on Goku's power, the meme says it's over 9,000,
Yeah.
but you actually say it's over 8,000. Was that a mistake, or?
Well, the translation said it's over 8,000. But we had, in 1998, when they were translating this thing, they had really, really bad translations. Like, the translations were the worst. They weren't even complete. They weren't time-coded. They literally just would say, ta 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 ta. I'm not even kidding. Like, somehow translating the battle sounds and stuff, and then we go, his battle power, ta 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 ta, 9,000, or like 8,000 or something, and nobody knew what they meant sometimes. So yeah, that was an original kind of translation mistake that ended up getting translated into the line, it's over 9,000. And then I thought for fun, when we were recording Dragon Ball Kai, I actually recorded 2 versions of it, over 9,000, which ran on television, and over 8,000, which were made on the discs forever, just so that you have something to talk about, so your friends can be like, wait a minute, why is it 8,000? And then you'll know that mistakes happen. So it took years, it took like 10 years to get the Japanese to understand the importance of over 9,000. Because when we were writing it into the video games, they would come back with a bug and they go, yes, the translate wrong in this line, that's supposed to be over 9,000. Which is how Japanese people talk. I don't know if you're aware of that. That's exactly what they sound like, and it's not offensive at all to them when I speak like that. But I was like, well, it's actually supposed to be over 9,000. They go, oh, but that's not the case. I'm like, well, it is. It's just got to stay over 9,000. But we don't understand. And I send them this long Wikipedia article about over 9,000. They go, oh, okay, it can stay over 9,000. All right, cool. Yes.
Okay, question for both of you. Dragon Ball is like a really, really powerful, inspirational thing for a lot of people in this world. They look up to it so much. Was there something in your life that was like mind-blowing, life-changing, all those things that you really love and look forward to?
Oh, that's such a sweet question.
I mean, there's only 2 things that have like dramatically changed my entire life. One of them is Dragon Ball. Like, without Dragon Ball, I wouldn't be who I am today. I just stumbled into it. It was like, if you all are familiar with My Hero Academia, I stumbled into it like Midoriya, and just wandered into Dragon Ball Z land, and didn't have any clue what it was, because Funimation was this tiny company, and I've been working on this show since 1998. That's 20 years. It's almost as old as you are. And, but it's a really, really long time, and it looks like I'm gonna be working on this show my entire life. Like, from my mid-20s to the time I die, I'm gonna be working on this show. So it was definitely life-changing. And then the other thing is my children. Obviously, I have 2 kids. I have 2 little girls, Hiro and Nova, and they are adorable. And they haven't seen Dragon Ball Z yet, only like tiny parts of it. But my daughters love Dragon Ball Z because I told them that Vegeta is a prince. And so they don't understand the whole context of the whole thing, but my daughter, Hiro, she has a backpack that has this clear plastic, it has this heart on the back and has this clear plastic insert, and I put one of my Vegeta prints in there. So every day when she goes to school, she has a backpack that has a Vegeta, like a little Vegeta. Eventually I'm gonna let her watch it, but she's super sensitive, and I'm worried if I let her watch it too soon, she's gonna go, that guy's he's not nice.
Yeah, she's gonna end up having nightmares about her daddy. Or at least skip to Super, where he's a little more friendly. A little more friendly. A little.
We'll start with there.
For me, I think the biggest life-changing event was auditioning to be a voice actor. I did theater for many, many years in Houston. I was a professional actress doing Shakespeare and musical theater, of all things. That's how you make your money when you're an actor, usually. And Jason Douglas, who plays Beerus got me into voice acting. He was like, hey, I'm doing this thing, you should do it too. Like, they dub anime in Houston, Texas? Not all that stuff was done out in LA. You should totally do it. You're so talented. You also sound like a child. Thanks, Jason. But yeah, I thought about it for a long time. I had never done anything professionally with just my voice before, and so I almost skipped the audition because I was so nervous. And I think back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what would have happened if I hadn't skipped that audition? That would have been awful. My life I wouldn't be here right now. It wouldn't be the same. So that was probably the biggest life-changing thing for me.
I mean, this would take a lot longer to explain, but what's weird is that I can actually trace my entire career back to the scar on the end of my smallest finger. Because it was literally in 7th grade, I was supposed to do typing as my elective. But I was joking around at the end of 6th grade, showing people how stupid it was. It's like, I don't see why they didn't let us use these super sharp scissors sooner. It's not like I'm gonna cut off my finger or something. And I accidentally cut off the end of my finger. Just the meaty part.
That's the most Chris story you've ever told me.
Yeah. So, and it's because of that I switched from that class, like I switched from typing, because I couldn't type because I had a big old thing on my finger, to speech and drama. And that, like, literally, I can trace everything back to that moment in my life. It's crazy.
Yeah, good question. Oh, am I picking? Back there. There's a hand. I helped you out.
This one's for Chris. You know how you voiced Vegeta and he's supposedly the Prince of All Saiyans? Well, once, Planet Vegeta is destroyed, how come he doesn't assume the mantle as King Vegeta now?
Because he never had a coronation day. He never had his, I guess he just never got the title. And there's nothing to be the king of. I think Frieza put it perfectly when she's like, all hail Prince Vegeta, Prince of Nothing, or something like that. I think it's crazy. Knowing Vegeta, he should have just said, hey, I'm king now. But
I'd love to be like queen consort. That'd be all about it.
But another character, I got to play King Vegeta in the new movie, and I love King Vegeta. Actually, playing him is super fun because he's like just a haunted version of Vegeta. It's like, and I love in the movie, he's just like, my son is perfect. Look at him. What is this other baby doing in this room with my child? Yeah, he's just such a. You can definitely tell where Vegeta gets his ego from. Dad gets it from Dad.
You pick.
Oh, yeah, you're right up here in the front. You, not you. This one right there.
So, for fusions, like with Gogeta and Vegito, how do you determine who you notice the voice first? Like, for example, when I hear Gogeta, I hear more of Goku, right? How do you determine the personality when you guys fuse?
It's interesting you say that because you almost answered your own question. When it starts with the letter G, Goku goes first. When it starts with the letter V, Vegito goes first. And what we try and do is that we bring a little bit of our character's personality into that character. However, now that Gogeta is canon, and we really got to bring Gogeta into the true canon, we tried really hard to make the best sounding Gogeta you've ever heard, because when he goes first, he gets to read the lines. Fortunately, I get to direct him on it, so I still get to do it the way I want to do it. Although it's very hard to get what you want when you're working with Sean, because he's very particular too. He gets to go first, and then I have to copy his lines almost exactly. And what we used to do the fusions in a slightly different way, where I used to let my voice read the lines in the same timing, but whatever inflection I wanted. But over the years, I realized it just didn't sound as good. So when we do Gogeta, I do, Sean changes his voice a little bit to sound a little bit more like Vegeta, and I change my voice a little bit to sound a little bit more like Goku, so that when they come together, it sounds just like one person instead. So it's a good question.
I saw the hand back there with my camera.
I saw the hand.
I don't have my glasses on, so
You're late, young Midoriya. Where have you been?
This is for Chris and Monica.
Thank you, because there's no one else up here. This question is for Sean Schemmel.
With your characters, do you guys ever contact each other via text or call, using your voices of any of the characters that you guys work on?
surprisingly, no. I don't think we ever have we?
For a long, long time, I never did that. But for whatever reason, in the last few years since Resurrection F came out, I have had this really dumb thing about texting Sean sometimes as Vegeta, like what floor are you on? Like the first question will be like innocuous, just like, wait, what floor are you on? I'll go, I'm on floor 11. I'll go like, I'm on floor 9. Darn you! Someday I will surpass you to floor 13. Just dumb stuff like that.
I think with the two of us, that we've played opposite each other too many times to like be able to do that because it would get really confusing. Because where do you even start? Do you go with Dragon Ball? Do you go with My Hero? Do you go with Yoda the Dog?
Yeah.
Do you go with, I'm like, we've played, or Shin-Chan even, I forgot you were my butler.
True.
So yeah, I think that's what it is that we've just been too many different characters together. Elfman and Yurjin.
We're also really super good friends, and we're her fiance and I are best friends, and she's best friends with my kids, and my kids all think that all people in the world have tiny, crazy, huge, like weird voices. All my friends are voice actors, and so yeah. I guess there's no more questions. I like how that everyone in the front looked around like. Sand shirt. There you go. No, Bio World jacket. Sorry. Then we'll go to sand shirt.
Obviously, I'm a fan, but I'm also a fan, a really big fan, of a game called The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
Which I know you're a good friend of
Troy's. Yes.
Yeah. And I was thinking if he was my friend, I'd probably be bothering him all the time to try to find out what's coming in the next game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you guys ever get that with the other colleagues, like trying to pressure each other into like trying to find out what's going to happen next in the series or in games?
Do you know what's funny? I think some of it is we're so used to working on games that are secret that we're super boring to talk to. Just like we work on nothing. I mean,
Go ahead.
I mean, we'll say, I mean, if you're really close friends, he'll probably call and say, I'm working on another one, but
No details.
yeah, they wouldn't give us any details anyway. And sometimes, like, we'll find out that they're on an amazing game and they weren't ever allowed to say a word because they were scared of word getting out. So.
The only pressure I've ever gotten from friends is I'm in the new Rooster Teeth show, Genlock, that just premiered today. You can see the first episode for free on Rooster Teeth. Woo. But Michael B. Jordan is in it, and so I get everybody going, have you met Michael B. Jordan yet?
She's talking about me, actually.
So I have not met Michael B. Jordan yet, but I already have a list of like 25 people that if and when I do, I'm gonna have to be like, and this is Chris.
This is
this person.
This is the packet from Chris that he wanted to share with you.
All Vegeta stuff, I'm sure. Oh, and you said Saiyan shirt afterwards, right? Yeah. See, I remembered.
I was just gonna ask, since there was an OVA of Yu Yu Hakusho that came out recently, was there any chance that you would know if they were gonna dub it or not?
I don't know whether they're going to dub it or not, but I'm really, really hoping they do. I do know that if there's any chance of it happening, it will happen though, because Justin Cook, who's the voice of Yusuke Urameshi, or I call him Yusaki Urameshi, he is the head of production out at Funimation. So if anybody is rooting to get the dub of that show, that's Justin. Yeah. I really hope it comes back, because Yu Yu Hakusho needs a reboot in a major way. Like, it needs to come back. Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right up here. Right up here. In the very front row. Yeah. I just want to make sure he gets to walk.
Look at my watch right now. I'm like 1/5 away from my calories.
I just wanted to know, we're big fans of NHA, but we wanted
Maha!
between NHA and Dragon Ball, like what was more challenging for y'all to do?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. For me, I mean, it's kind of apples and oranges because they're so different. Like, what's challenging about Bulma is if you watch her animation. I was talking to the English script adapter for Broly about this. He's like, Bulma was so hard to write for. And I'm like, yeah, because if you watch her expressions, like the other guys will keep one expression the whole line, Meanwhile, if Bulma has a long line, then she's just like, her face is all over the place. Like, they animate her so crazy. And so I have to match that, which requires a lot of energy. And I'm an old lady. So afterwards, I have to go home and take a nap. But then, when you go over to Suyu,
like Suyu's voice is just so much fun to do, you know, like just talking like this all day long. And also, I think what's most difficult about her is that she doesn't talk a whole lot up until now, except for like the ribbon.
But yeah, so it's a little different, but I would say they're both challenging, but in the best ways. They're two great characters, totally different but awesome. Speaking of great characters that are awesome but totally different, his characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, Dragon Ball is particularly vocally challenging, because Vegeta's voice is, like, anytime you do a scratchy voice, it's really hard on your voice, because in order to do a scratchy voice, like, Vegeta's voice and Yamcha's voice are surprisingly the same thing. I don't know if you guys knew that. Because Yamcha's voice is like right here, and Vegeta's voice is right here as well. It's just you have to push twice as much air into your voice, and it has to like push past your vocal cords. And it just hurts to do his voice, like for any period of time. Not to mention, Vegeta is just not a guy that's very subtle, so I have to, sometimes we'll record half an episode and I go, have I been yelling this whole time? Like, are there any opportunities for him not to yell about anything? The biggest challenge is, like on the All Might front, is I love the dichotomy of having the two versions of the character. The hardest thing about All Might is trying to keep the exhausted, weakened All Might version, like the No Might version. Without, I play so many other characters like Zoro and Kurogane and Hawk and stuff, who are these guys who are just like, I don't care, I'm not part of the group, I have a heart of gold, but I hate everybody. But the hardest thing is not to play him like that, because All Might, puffed out, and weakened All Might are the same person, and they have the same enthusiasm. It's just the weakened All Might doesn't have a lot of energy, that's all. I just love the acting challenges of All Might, because I guess some of it's, I kind of got a little hot water recently, because I recently said that All Might was like the role of a lifetime, and what I probably should have said is like, of course, Vegeta is like in his own category. Like, there's no way to compare to that, because he is exponential. As I said earlier, he's changed everything about my life, and he's just in a different category. But comparing like characters like Vegeta and All Might, there's just no comparison. All Might is a completely different, layered individual that's very, very different than Vegeta. I can relate to him, I think, partially because I have kids, and I'm at this point in my career where I am looking at new people and saying, like, that person's talented, that person's talented. It's something I can relate to about him, rather than a guy who's always angry and always has like this raging like case of hemorrhoids, and only like it's almost like pulling teeth for him to say something nice to his wife. Like, that's probably the farthest from my personality. So there you go. I'm sorry.
It's a much more nuanced performance too.
Yeah.
You're not having to yell more. Who else has a question? Ooh, I'm gonna make it hard for you guys. In the middle. With the tie, you turn around. Yes. Sorry,
All right.
guys.
So
The first person that
I'm
comes
gonna just put on a Nerf football later.
I was at a convention one time that had, instead of a microphone, they had this, well, it was a microphone, but it was this microphone encased in a puffy block. And it had the microphone screen, it was like soft over top of it, and when you were done with it, you would just go, woo, and throw it, and someone else could like catch it, and it didn't matter if it hit you in the face, because it was
need that.
super puffy.
So for next year.
Well, I was gonna say, there was a manga that came out a while ago called I Got Reincarnated, that time I got reincarnated as young.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask, if that ever happened to you, and it doesn't have to be a Dragon Ball character, if that happened to you, what character would it be? And if you were to change it, how would you change it?
If we were to get reincarnated as one of our characters?
Yeah, that's your voice.
Okay. Mine's actually kind of easy. Because if I was going to be reincarnated, I would want to be reincarnated as somebody who's totally evil, just because I've never done that before, right? I'm totally a nice person, I swear. But I love Rize from Tokyo Ghoul. And there's something that would be super cool about being reincarnated as a ghoul that just eats people mercilessly. And then also can use a really cute super sound like, hey, do you wanna go get some drink? And then
That is the farthest from what I would want to do.
I think it sounds awesome.
If I were ever reincarnated in Jason's body, I would just vomit immediately. I would change the whole course of the story. I'm like, whoa, sorry, I'm not killing anybody today.
Jason was particularly disturbing.
He was horrified.
Yeah.
That's because they already reincarnated as Yamcha is by far the best idea. Like it's such a freaking good idea. I wouldn't mind being reincarnated as like Zoro from One Piece. Because they have it seems like they have a pretty fun time, and he has a great life. He just like drinks a bunch of beer and then takes a really long nap, wakes up, does something extraordinary with swords, and then yells at Luffy and then goes back to sleep. So it's
As long as we don't have to be reincarnated from the same show, because I do not want to be reincarnated as Tashigi. Because all I do is run after you all the time, yelling, Romanoa Zoro! Which is really hard to say when you're pretending to run with a sword. Romanoa Zoro!
Try the swords in your mouth. Sorry, no one got that. Unless it's a One Piece joke.
Who else has a question? This is your turn, Nick.
Okay, let's see. In the back there, there's two red things. That's all I see on both sides. Yeah, there you go. Red jacket. You know who you are.
My question is for the two of you. Do you ever go back to the manga material and see how it's a little bit more intense? I know that everybody likes to do the anime a little more like kid-friendly. Do you ever freak out when you go back to the source material?
I try to, this sounds awful. I would love to have the time when I'm done with the show to go back and look at the source material, but usually by then we've moved on to 18 more shows. So you don't really have the time to do that. So the only time to research would be beforehand, but I don't want to research the manga, and we know that most anime, despite My Hero, which tends to stick very close to the manga, most of them are like, oh, there's a manga? That's great. We're going to go all the way over here. So I don't want to get attached to this story if it's going to go this way. I will say that when I was writing Fairy Tail, I was the head writer for Fairy Tail for 4 years.